Hello my darlings, it's Zoo here and today I'm delivering a villain Bakugou story. Before we go right into it though, I would like to remind you to watch the video until the end, like or dislike and comment something down below. This way you enhance my standing in the YouTube algorithm, and if you do that, more people will see my video and they're recommended, and there's a slightly higher chance that they maybe watch my video. So I would greatly appreciate if you do that. Okay, let's get right into the show. Sometimes having a mutation quirk was the best thing you could imagine, since many other quirks had no effect on you. Specifically, the ones that affected other quirks. You smiled as you pressed your gun against the pro hero's skull. "You won't take her," coughed the hero, and you chuckled. Sorry, but remind me, who's lying on the ground bleeding like a step pig?" The hero grunted. You and your group had entered his apartment a few minutes ago, and everything happened just as your boss had told you. You know, you laugh with confidence. "You're pretty hot, so I grant you saying your last words." He coughed and went silent. You remained in this position for about 3 minutes, before you shrugged and just pulled the trigger. As soon as his brain was thoroughly spread around the room, the weird bandages that were holding your team captive were released. "Why are we even doing this? Killing just some dumb teacher?" grumbled one guy, and you gave him a condescending glare. "See, this is why I hate running with amateurs." After a sigh, you continued. Somewhere in this wonderful apartment is a little girl. The boss wants that little girl, and what the boss wants, I want. Simple as that." Your guys looked at each other for a second before replying with, "Why would a teacher just have a little girl?" You shrugged. "'Cause he's a perf, I don't know, and who cares? Just find that brat, alright?" You thought for a second. "Oh, and remember to watch any exit if that kid escapes us. This whole operation is done, and so would be your usefulness. Also, I have a feeling that grape juice will show up, and I really don't want to deal with that garbage." With silent shrugs, your henchmen got to work, while you sat down on the pro's couch, stretching your legs. You had joined this group of ruffians a few weeks ago. The goal was simple: replace the broken Yakuza and make lots and lots of money. But in truth, you didn't really care about the money. You cared about your boss. Such a wonderful young man. You two had spent a few nights together, but he never took off his stupid bird mask. Despite that, a spark had flamed up between the two of you, and you two tried to constantly outclass each other with how well of a job either of one of you did. "No!" You heard a small voice shout from a room somewhere behind you. "Don't touch me! Help! Mr. Aizawa! Please!" You grinned. "Arigato!" You chuckled towards one of your guys. "Grab that dead thing and throw it in front of her. Maybe that makes her shut up." The man you called gave a bellowing laugh before following your orders. You just heard the loud bump from the other room, which a few seconds later was followed by quiet sobbing and amused chatter from your comrades. One last time you stretched yourself and jumped on your feet. Then you proceeded into the room your team was in. It was hidden behind a cupboard through a small hole, and led into a surprisingly large children's playroom. The kid herself must have been no older than 10. Her red, albino eyes stared right into your face. Something about her pissed you off. But you couldn't put a finger on what or why. You stepped over the dead thing right in front of her. You got a pretty room here. You tried to keep your voice calm, but the malicious intent hidden behind your smile was too obvious. We're going to have lots of fun together. What did you do to Mr. Heist? Smile widened. Nothing. He's just taking a nap. Right? The man called Arikado chuckled and cartoonishly mimicked the hero's sexy yet cold voice, while using his boot to move the guy's head. Hey, little one. I'm just sleeping. The guys around you broke out in laughter, and the girl's sobbing grew more quiet. You wondered. Was she trying to look brave, or did she want to ruin your fun? Either way, it didn't work. And she didn't resist while you backed her into your van. You sat on the back seat with her, arm draped around her shoulder with a smug smile. I have the feeling you did this already. She stayed quiet. Not the talkative type, huh? Okay then. Let me talk for the both of us. After mockingly clearing your throat, you asked in a high-pitched voice, Miss Batgirl, where are you taking me? Your driver chuckled upon hearing that, and you answered your own question. To a very nice place where we'll take very good care of you. Once again in her voice, you spoke. But I liked it while I was, and Mr. Hero took good care of me. Your smile turned evil, and you answered. Where you are going, you will never, ever have to worry about anything, ever. You paused. I don't know why our boss wants you. And to be frank, I don't care. I just want him to be proud of me. We're proud of you, team leader, said your driver. Aw, thanks, James, you said with a happy tone, before harshly growling, but I didn't ask you. Shut up and drive. Deku will save me, sobbed the girl next to you suddenly. Excuse me, who's Deku? You asked, and she sniffled. He's the future #1 hero. He will kick all of your butts and save me. You looked at the passenger seat next to your driver. Are you hearing this, Arikado? Is it okay if we beat up the merchandise? You paused. You know what? Call up the boss, ask him if it's okay. Arikado nodded and dialed your boss's phone. Realizing you were serious, the girl quickly apologized, but it was too late. Boss says as long as you keep her face clean and it doesn't die, we can do whatever we want to her. Your henchman paused, and then gave you a dirty grin. Whatever you want, huh? I mean, you look pretty grown for your age, don't ya? With a disgusted sigh, you spat back with, whatever you want, what, Arikado? And the man groaned in defeat. See, you said, looking back at the girl. I'm protecting you against these big brutes. You and your team went quiet for a moment, accompanied by the girl. Man, this is really bumming me out, you said eventually with a frown. James, turn on my music, please. Your driver nodded and turned on the radio. Perfect. You started singing along the happy tune that played. When the bubblegum pops, I want you to smile and remember every good time we had when skies were gray. You looked down at the girl. Why are you crying? And then, you couldn't hold it no longer. You burst into a fit of aggressive laughter. I'm sorry, girlie, but this entire situation just turned into comedy gold for me. The rest of your drive, you opted to just hum along the happy-go-lucky music. The hideout of your gang was in an old bunker, hidden inside a deep forest. It was close to a hideout of the League of Villains, so they were unknowingly meat shields, which filled each member of your group with an uneasy comfort. Of course, the League was completely unaware of your dealings. After you had finally managed to drag the child into the underground, you phoned up your boss. Hey there, Mr. B, you mused. I got a little present for you. He didn't reply, but you heard him chuckle. Hearing him being so pleased with your work made you squeal excitedly. You had set the girl on a bunk bed inside the infirmary ward of your secure fortress. After seeing all the medical equipment around her, the girl had broken out into desperate cries that were even touching your own heart. Don't worry, sweet summer child, you said to her. The boss is really nice to most captives, and he never kills anyone. You looked at the brutes that were with you. After all, that's what we are here for. She started thrashing around, and after accidentally having hit you right on the nose, you angrily grabbed her throat. She coughed upon increasing pressure. That was the first and last time you raised your hand against me, brat! You shouted. Her wild thrashing slowed down, but you kept choking her until you heard the door to the ward open. In stepped a bulky figure dressed in a white shirt and black tie. Face covered by a bird mask. Everyone out, he said in a rough voice, and I looked at you. You, I want to stay for a moment. He came closer to you and looked you right in the eyes. I said you could hurt her, but you just tried to kill her. He sounded scarily calm. It's fine, really, she's still alive, but I do need to get punished. He looked at the girl for a moment, who was still coughing. Go to my office. Wait for me. And leave your clothes in front of the door. Got it? You blushed and giggled. Okay, boss. Boom. The man chuckled and took off his mask, and then knelt down in front of the little girl. Hey, ERI. Remember me? Said Bakugou, excitement filling his body as horror overcame the little girl. Deku will save me, she cried once again. But Bakugou just laughed. Fucking Deku. He's already dead. I killed him. And the small glimmer of hope in the girl's eyes left. An hour later, Bakugou joined you in his office. Your boss's office was probably the most luxuriously decorated room inside the base. The walls were draped by red velvet, and the cold stone floor was covered by a Persian carpet that you had stolen from the League of Villains. In fact, that had been your initiation. As instructed, you had left your clothes on the floor outside and looked at him with hungry eyes. You're sitting on his desk with your legs crossed. As he approached you, he was already loosening his tie. Took off his gloves. You know, despite that little incident, you've been a very good cum dumpster today. You giggled like a giddy child. He stopped right in front of you, and slid his hands down your waist, before saying, "So today," he retreated and reached for his head, "the mask comes off."